Always bringing you enlightening topics. I'm Sharzant Morgan. I am a life coach at the Treasure Within Coaching, and today I want to share with you a different type of coaching done by Terrence Real, who does relationship coaching in a way that's very different from the way that other people have done it. Now, this book is about 20 years old, but he still uses the same principles, but when he wrote this book in early 2000, it was a time that men were first starting to really wake up to the idea that they had to be vulnerable and that women expected them to be connected in the relationship. And at the time, what was really common, or before even in the year 2000, was there would be a lot of men who had hidden their vulnerability behind anger, rage, or depression. And the women were left very unhappy, but the women, instead of speaking up fiercely and lovingly, would be complicit in the man's hiding of his emotions, which was very damaging to the entire family. They would be complicit, check out, or become resentful, or become angry pursuers. So they had their own issues. And so what he does in his coaching is he takes sides, and he sides first with the woman, because unless the man sees that he has a problem, he's not going to change. So he lovingly confronts the man, and he does it very well. This book is a great read. He has a lot of videos on YouTube you can check out. He lovingly confronts the man and gets him to see if he keeps going on this path, there will be no more relationship. And speaks to him fiercely to get to his heart and get the man to kind of melt and be like, yes, I'm willing to change. The point I want to make with this, though, is that he says that men need to take the lead of the woman in the relationship. Specifically, and I will read to you. Here he's referring to research by the well-known researcher John Gottman, who's done a lot of work on predicting marital success. And initially people thought it was all about proper communication, but it isn't. Terry Real says that in his 25 years, now it's been even more than that, as a couples therapist, he's never found that communication was really the issue. And actually, a lot of men don't want to communicate if they're brought up in that patriarchal world where men don't have feelings. And that's the true essence of it. If people are in a relationship where the man has shut off from his vulnerability and he stonewalls or is angry and doesn't want to listen or connect, and the woman doesn't use her voice, these relationships are just toxic and the children greatly suffer. But here's the quote. One sentence. After sifting through reams of data, Gottman found that the most reliable predictor of long-term marital success was a pattern in which the wives, in non-offensive, clear ways, communicated their needs, and husbands willingly altered their behaviors to meet them. Now, some people made this mean that men were just beta males to their wives, or that they were just yes boys, and that is not what it means at all. It means that a woman usually is more in touch with the relational aspect of the relationship. She's not trying to get the man to be her little boy or her servant. She's lovingly speaking out for her needs. And in a happy long-term marriage, the man actually listens. He doesn't get defensive, shut down, stonewall, run away, ridicule, reject, defend, deny, criticize, and all those other toxic ways of behaving. And I was unfortunately married to a man who came from that old patriarchy. He wasn't angry, he wasn't critical, but he stonewalled his feelings. And that is ultimately why I left him. And so therefore he was the reason, he was the problem. He was absolutely the problem. That's why my marriage ended. But honestly, it took me a long fucking time to see that. A long fucking time to see that. But anyway, women, it turns out, want more than to be understood by their men. They want men to change. Derisively dubbed by journalists the Yes Dear study, Gottman's findings appeared in most major newspapers throughout the West, often accompanied by snide commentary. The thin-veiled subtext of the jokes was that ballless men make for good husbands. But does a man's willingness to listen to the woman he loves and change his own behavior constitute a form of castration? A great many men, while too well informed to say it aloud, certainly act like it. Women, fearing their partner's reactions, withdraw their real needs, scream them out ineffectively, or vacillate between the two. In these families, no one tells the whole truth, everyone suffers, and traditional therapy comes along in the ride. In much the same way that many women have been willing, albeit with great agony, to offer up their children to the maw of psychological patriarchy, when women turn to therapy for help, they are themselves quite often turned over and betrayed for much the same reason. And that's because the therapist doesn't want to take sides. So anyway, what he does first is he empowers the woman enough to speak and gets the man connected enough to listen. That's the first part of the therapy. In the second part of the therapy, he goes into each partner's, he explores why they've become the way they have, why the woman has shut down or become a screecher, and looks at their wounds and does it in front of each other, because there's real healing in seeing your partner cry and struggle over their wounds, and it brings the couple closer. So that's a big part of the therapy, is this inner child work. And then in the third part, he teaches them how to be powerful and more effective. And then they do continuing therapy for a few more months or whatever. But I really like this, and I think that's what, in my escort business, that's what all the screening and everything is about. And that's what men really are in touch with, is giving the woman what she wants, because they're willing to be vulnerable and be in touch with their feelings and be loving. And like I always would say, when I was married, is I'm not trying to get you to do heroin or rob a bank. I just want you to be more connected. This is healthy for you. Asking you to step it up and be healthy for you. Ladies, I'm just telling you, if you are not with a modern man, or you're with a very wounded man who doesn't want to do this stuff, who doesn't want to be vulnerable, because he's so hurt behind these walls and his defenses. He's so, as a boy, he was either so sensitive and easily hurt, or he had a horrible childhood, and he's unwilling to break these walls. There's no way, you can't change him. He has to want to do it. And sometimes men will do it because they've gone through, a woman left them because they wouldn't connect, and so they've learned that they have to open up, or they don't want to lose that woman that they're with, so they're willing to do the work. But that's my tip, and thank you for watching my video.